by Riverside FM.
This is the 2400 Block Podcast with Jonnyroobs.
All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of the 2400 Block Podcast. And we are here a day before Independence Day. So I just want to say this in advance to everyone right now. Happy Independence Day. And I do have my special guest. He comes from the 757. He's been a longtime friend of mine. And it's good to see him in his purest form. Still having that baby face, man. I'm so jealous. Look at me. I'm an old man. But yeah, welcome Verge to the show. Let's give him a big hand. Mr. Verge, everybody. Yeah. Let's give him a big hand. Yeah.
Thank you. And hey, happy 4th of July to you too.
Oh, thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah, and I'm going to be doing my strawberry picking in a few. So for sure, I will enjoy it beforehand, before the fireworks and all.
Going back to them immigrant roots, right?
Oh, yeah. You know it, man. So it's good you acknowledge that. That's a part of our American history, and definitely take note. Filipino Americans were a part of American history.
Yeah, honestly, the earliest case of slavery was the Filipinos and the Gulf Coast from the from the first Spanish colonies in the 1500s.
Uh-huh.
So that was an absolute failure, but that's neither here nor there.
Whew, man. I can't believe that we've finally had a chance to interact after so long, Verge. I mean, besides the text and the phone calls that we have made through the pockets of time.
It has been a couple years, man. So,
yes, it has.
And I'm glad, I'm glad that you're doing well. That that you got your platform. You're definitely. I've been a fan for a couple of years now.
Oh, thank you.
Watching the progress. I love the new intro and edit. So,
awesome. Yeah. Did you notice through the intro, you notice that there's different locations, right? As you're watching the footage.
Oh yeah, so yeah, I've taken note of the various drone shots that you use and other editing effects and videography techniques you're using.
Yeah.
Thanks, man. That's cool.
And by the way, mad props to Gabe for the beats. Thank you very much. It really sounds awesome for this season.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah. And he was from the 757, but now he lives in San Diego. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So definitely mad props to him. And by the way, Verge, I think the first time I met you was way back in 1998. I believe it was 1998, around there.
Earlier.
I can't even look back and
no, more like 95, 96, because I remember I hadn't officially learned to drive yet when I met you.
That Toyota Corolla it was? Was it a Corolla?
No. Oh, I bought the Toyota Corolla.
Uh-huh.
But I had my very first car was a 1983 Ford Taurus.
Oh, wow. 1983. I need to Google that later on.
either 83 or 86, but it was an ugly, faded red with a tape deck and no AC, and you still had the window handles to roll up and down the windows. Eventually, I admit I lost that car. Well, I didn't lose that car, but because of irresponsibility as well as a few incidents, one can say. My cousin who my dad, well, my cousin on my father's side of the family, one of my cousins, she ended up with a car as she immigrated. It was like she immigrated from the Philippines around that time, stayed with us for a while, and they apparently she used the car to I think move to California to be with other relatives and friends. So that was, but then again, it is what it is.
So that was it, pretty much, huh?
Yeah, but yeah, I remember we met through a basically after school extracurricular organization involving Filipino culture and outreach. I forget the exact name of the organization, but yeah, we met and then we bonded. We bonded at a weekend conference during the summertime, I believe.
Yeah,
it was a 3-day.
I think it was fall.
3-day road trip.
It might have been fall. It might have been September though. September, October, I think.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, but it was Florida, and we were in Tampa.
Yeah,
and
Tampa, St. Pete's area.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, if you don't mind me, Virg, I just took this out of the photo album, so I'm sure many of you guys are wondering like how me and Virg met. So here is like what started it all. That Filipino youth group we were in, and we went to St. Pete's. So audience, here we were. Look at that, dude. Look at me, I had hair. Look at Virg, he had a lot of hair.
Yeah, and baby-faced and clean-shaved.
Yeah, and then there you were. There's Chris and some girl that I thought was Filipino at first, but she's Cambodian or something, or Vietnamese, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, something I wanted to share from the past, Virg. I haven't actually... See, this is the first time I actually taken out of the album. See, these are, like, fresh. There's not even fingerprints on them.
Yeah, that was almost 30 years ago. It's about 27, 28 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah. We old. We
are old, man, but you still got that baby face. Look at me, man.
Dude, nah, man. You're still pretty young. Dude, you're good.
What you drinking? Just water?
Yeah, just a bottle of water.
Yeah. This is the kind of coffee that I'm drinking, so I'm going to just plug it away, folks. So if you want to know what I drink in the morning, well, here it is. I drank Copico. I don't know if you drink that, but that's what I drink.
I remember.
I love instant, so I got my instant coffee.
Actually, my mom is a very big fan of low acid coffee.
Oh yeah,
from the Korean from Korea. Basically it's an all-in-one pack. It has predetermined set amounts of the instant coffee, the creamer, as well as the sugar.
Oh, same here with this thing.
Yeah. So, but it's low acid, and I tried a couple cups of it, and it's really good. But I'm not normally a coffee drinker, so it's on the rare occasion I will have a hot cup of coffee. Like, honestly, I need to cut back on the non-diet stuff. No. Like Coca-Cola is my narcotic.
That's my battle right now.
Yeah, I'm drinking more. I'm drinking more water, but I can't help sometimes. But when I go out to eat, at a sit-down place, or if I'm grabbing, fast food, then I normally gravitate towards, stores that will, restaurants and fast food restaurants that will serve Coca-Cola.
I love Coca-Cola for breakfast. I love it.
Oh yeah, especially with a good Filipino breakfast, tapsilog.
Oh yeah.
With, garlic fried rice,
Uh-huh.
eggs how you want, and your choice of meat.
All right, so you're ready for this, dude. But before we go forth with our full-fledged 1-hour podcast here, dude, how does it feel like just interacting with each other again? To me, this is just
Hey, man.
awesome.
Hey man, we're getting, we're oh shoot.
You're popular already.
Yeah, let me kill this bit.
Go ahead, do what you got to do. By the way, everyone, thank you for watching as well as listening to this podcast here featuring me and my friend Virgilio. I didn't think I was introducing you, so I guess I'll say it now. Or maybe did I say that or during the intro? I don't even remember.
You said Verge?
Yeah, I'll call him Verge. So yeah, let's just call him Verge. But if you want to call him, by his long name, Virgilio, and you're not the only Virgilio, right? You're a junior, right?
Yeah, actually I am the third.
Oh wow!
My grandfather had Virgilio Calderon.
That's awesome.
My dad had Virgilio Calderon, and I'm Virgilio Calderon. However, my dad took senior, so I'm junior, though technically I'm the third.
Okay. Love that. I love your Instagram, man. You call yourself V Caldi Jr. That's awesome.
Well, that's every other handle that I could think of involving my name or variation thereof was taken, and I kind of took cues from my brother's Instagram page, and so that's basically like, and also it does create a sense of separation for online purposes, because like with just there are so many ways to manipulate the internet. As funny enough, I'm studying to get my Security Plus certification, and I'm just dealing and learning the information about cybersecurity, cyber awareness, protect your data. A lot of it is physical, but but just the simple schemes and things done, with just basic knowledge that can be achieved is just crazy. And also it is to the protection of the private citizen, as employers are more and more aware of social media, and a lot of employers will look up your social media, see, they'll stalk you and see what you be doing, and in this age of doxing, complaining, cancellation, you got to take steps to create a distance and barrier. And it's a simple like, you want my Instagram, you got to find me.
Yeah.
Though that's got to have been less invest, but it's all right. It's all right. Because I made one for a reason. So if it's there, and it's one way of connecting and contacting me. If
Yeah.
If a person should so choose.
Yeah.
It's not the only way, but
Yeah. And we live in that day and age now where information is at everyone's fingertips, regardless.
Yeah, but
whether it's an employer or someone just looking you up.
yeah, that's true. But we as a people have to learn how to be more discerning about the information.
Yeah.
You find, or the information that finds you.
Yeah.
you could be searching a topic and all of a sudden just end up on a tangent of information that in the course of you trying to find one thing, you end up spider webbing into a multitude of directions and areas. You're suffering from information overload, and you're like, what was I originally doing anyway in the first place? I don't know.
You know, I can clue everyone in right now. I am a Star Wars fan, yeah. Oh, man. All right. So, all right, Virg. What was life like growing up in Virginia Beach as a kid, as this young kid?
Well, you got to take it back further, because as much as I love to say I'm a resident Virginian, that's kind of a lie, because the first year, at this point, the first I would say the first fifth of my life was elsewhere, because I was born in the Philippines, outside Subic Bay, at the time when it was a naval base, with the under the control of the U.S. military, so consider a U.S. territory. My dad is currently retired, but he did serve his full term to retirement as Navy enlisted. Made it all the way to E6 before he retired. Then he spent the rest of his time until his retirement in 2013. I think 13 or 14 maybe. But as a federal service employee, working with Norfolk Naval Shipyard. But during his Navy time, he was married to my mom. They were on the West Coast. Then my dad got stationed to the Philippines with his boat, got pregnant, and had me in the summer of 1980 in August. But during the first 8 or so years of my life, it was a ride, and even I have fond memories as a child growing up, in a Navy household, in a military household. It was the 80s. Things were a lot different then. I imagine if I should tell you some stories about my childhood, your younger audience would freak out. as we were dealing with a different time, a different era.
Yes, it was.
Not to get too much into it, but yeah, it was a different time and a different era. But growing up, I got to move around a lot. I learned the lessons of relationships and their permanence or impermanence early. As you know, I made so many great and emotional memories with people that I no longer have in my life, but I still look back on them fondly, and I wish them all the best in the world. Though I will say that my mom and dad are a lot better at keeping and maintaining those relationships as you know they're adults, and they still have their contact list, address book, Rolodex. Yeah, that I'm dating myself. Yes, they still have the Rolodex.
Wow.
And they have all those contact information. They all have all that contact information. And Filipinos.
Yeah.
More often than not, the contact information is good. and if it isn't, we can usually reach out to other members of the friend circle who would probably be more up to date. Especially our parents' age. But it wasn't until I didn't enter Virginia until like I was eight or nine. And growing up in Virginia, same thing. Though it didn't dawn on me until my dad's retirement ceremony in 1995, July, that. Because I thought we were staying. I thought we were moving back to California to be with my friends that I grew up in childhood with, that where I was from. And it was like, so we're staying in Virginia. I'm staying here. We're not going back. Oh man, why? But I found a love of Virginia. I accepted it. And there's a lot of things to Virginia, especially the Tidewater. I will call it Tidewater because we're
old school, yeah.
And that are the new term now is coastal Virginia. They skipped past Hampton Roads now.
Wow.
And they're calling our region Coastal Virginia. Coastal Virginia. Weird, right?
Yeah.
I was like, so it's Tidewater? It's Tidewater. Then we got 7 cities.
Mm-hmm.
Though the 7 cities came up around the time of Hampton Roads, so it was a tie between 7 cities and Hampton Roads, depending on who you talk to. And now, Coastal Virginia. I'm like, I'm gonna go back to Tidewater. Sorry, or I'm gonna go back to Tidewater Peninsula.
There you go. I love Tidewater. I love Tidewater.
Tidewater for the South Side, Peninsula for Hampton, Newport News.
Yeah. By the way, Virg, I'm sorry to take you off a turn here, but would you like to say hello to those people that you miss in California right now, since we are here on YouTube? Would you like to say anything?
Hi, guys. Yeah, they're. Hey, hello, Lagrazon family. Hello, my Nego family. Yes, the Lagrazons and the Manigos they're the last name of the families that I spent a good portion of my childhood in California, growing up with. In between bouts of going back and forth overseas to Guam, to the Philippines, to Seattle, Bremerton, Washington, California again. So like,
whoa,
I was a We were Westpac. We were a Westpac family until my dad got deployed to the Atlantic and East Coast.
Hey, it says here that you went to Yokosuka, Japan back in 2010. Oh my gosh, that's where I was born.
Nice.
Yeah.
I was there for a wedding. Had a fun time.
Mm-hmm.
It was a great experience, and I got lost in the sauce with anime. Hey man, I'm a big fan. Well, I'm a big fan of a lot of things, but particularly anime. Probably one of my great passions and loves, though. I don't watch as much anymore, though. I still have that persistent Crunchyroll subscription. So if I ever decide, okay, I'm really bored. Let me put something on.
By the way, how did you get into anime and the fantasy stuff? Yeah, man, I'm dying to know.
Well, it was an outlet.
Mm-hmm.
It was a solace. It was going living base to base, moving around a lot in my childhood. I had a natural affinity to story, to fantasy. Like I grew up with all the cartoons that you could think of in the 80s, plus a lot of non-standard stuff, especially with the military news or the military channel. They would show stuff like Transformers, Voltron, Astro Boy,
Robotech. Yeah.
Robotech, yes. And as well as the American cartoons. I was in love with martial arts action because like I grew up watching like the Saturday afternoon kung fu movies that would come on, and that love followed me everywhere here in Virginia as well. But I kind of got sucked into that world, and because I had my brother, I had my friends, but when you're moving around a lot, you really don't have much.
Yeah.
You can't really take a lot of stuff with you. So and my mom had to work while my dad was deployed and moving up in the ranks. So we didn't have a lot of money, as I was growing up, but they made it work. And so as I got older, even though I tried to I branched out socially and made various friends through various circumstances and experiences, but that love of anime, fantasy, action branch kind of grew. Like I was you remember I had like 3 or 4 books packed in my bag.
Yeah.
During
the trip,
during that 3-day weekend conference that when I wasn't at the conference, or when I wasn't attending the conference and listening and watching, and we weren't doing stuff, I was more than content in those dull moments to just read my fantasy book while everybody was talking around me. But I did open up and I did express myself, and because a lot of times it takes a bit to warm up to a crowd or a situation.
Likewise.
Yeah, but because of that, I expanded my horizons, read a lot, and that made me reach out, do more. And it wasn't until high school then that I branched out even further because I started going to for those not familiar with the term LARPs, live action role play. You might viewers in the audience at home might know there's a particular movie that kind of satirizes and uses it as a basically as a comedic tool, and one of the points of the story called role models.
Oh yeah.
So ROLEMODELS. But it features a made up LARP, and it's basically a lot of people. It's basically an organized game of adult make believe. People get into costume. You want to be a warrior. You want to be a wizard. Dressing in costume, using props, fighting with safety weapons, and just a good time. Exercising, getting out there in the sunshine, the rain,
yeah,
and just having fun. And me getting into that crowd brought me back into other experiences that I may have briefly done in the past, like tabletop role-playing games, which that is now one of my major passions. I am a storyteller, GM for my group, what's called the what's popularly coined as the Forever DM online and in social media. The term basically you run most you run the games for the group most often, where the other members of the group are the players.
Oh, okay.
And tabletop role playing is more a sit down in a circle, or we can do it like in a virtual format like this. You develop a character, a persona. You have one person narrating the story, and you participate in a group as a group of adventurers doing
so cool
tasks. And you can narrate. You narrate. You act. You voice act it out. You become your character, and you have a sense of adventure. It's grown up, and once again, it's a mixture of storytelling, improv, as well as low-key gambling, because we use different sets of dice to determine success or failure, and incorporate that random element of chance in the dice while using the dice. So it's basically live action. It's basically a live action cooperative game that the players are the characters on the screen in the video game, and I, as the storyteller, dungeon master, game master, the DM, GM, I am the video game. I am the enemies. I am the setting. I am the world you run through. I am the loot you acquire when you kill the enemies. And my responsibilities are set in a framework of the rules of the game. Though any game system will tell you that it's a cooperative game if the rules are a suggestion and a guideline, and if rules don't work for you, they can be modified and dismissed as you need to.
Wow.
But a lot of the times, especially with the more popular systems like D&D and Pathfinder, they play tested enough that the rules only need slight modifications, because people will find a way to make insane leaps of logic, do weird things, and unintentionally or intentionally break the balance of the system of the game they're playing. And so once complaints or questions come around, the writers and the staff will go, "Oh, we didn't account for that." Let's type up a press release. Let's do an errata and post it online so they know. Yes, fans and customers of the product and the system, we came across this problem. As per our rules, we would like you to not use that, or it's modified such, and it depends, and it would depend on the group, if they follow the errata and use those rules, which most players or most tabletop players are fairly honest folk. Mm-hmm. So, if there's an update and there's restrictions are placed, usually we chew it out. We chew over and I may have thought about doing the thing, but you know what? On second thought, why do the thing? Because that ruins, that just ruins the experience for the other players. Let me go. Let me not.
Hey, Virg, this is interesting than a drama club alone, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. It's drama club after high school.
Then you're setting rules and wow.
It's improv drama.
That is interesting. By the way, do they have is there egos clashing against each other, or people take it personally over something?
It really depends on the players and the GM, because I've seen cases where the players couldn't get past their own ego. Uh-huh. Players had basic rules of etiquette and propriety apply in any social situation, including a game that you all are playing together. I've had the good fortune of having experienced game masters, dungeon masters, storytellers who have shown me what a good dungeon master and a good storyteller does. Mm-hmm. Listening to the players, taking feedback, having communication, answering questions, because I especially as a new player, if a new player comes into my game, mm-hmm. Other than our pre-session, what I like to call a session zero, where everybody I lay out what the game is. I wrote a game set in this period. We're playing using this system. There is no magic, or there is magic. You can play this class of magic user. You cannot play this class of magic user. We're limiting ourselves to using these books and setting rules and materials, or everything is everything, use whatever you want as long as it's this, and I'm like, well, and I would like you to do this, and the players say, oh, I want to play this, or you know what, I've been casting magic for a lot of my characters. You know what, I'm going to be a dumb fighter, or I'm going to be a sneaky rogue, or I'm going to be a blacksmith. Like just weird things and do things. But besides establishing, and generating your character, like I said, if a new player comes to game, joins my group, I definitely am welcoming. I explain to them the rules and boundaries, that like hard cap, like stuff, like I said, I've run through the gamut of weird groups, like, and like some will allow certain things, like, I hate to say it, some will allow actually domestic and sexual assault scenarios to play out in the game, even though it's a fantasy and it's not real. I don't like that aspect of realness to be included in my game, because in the end state, it's a fantasy. We're developing a story together, and it's like a choose your own adventure story session. Like, do I really want to include things like abuse and torture and the ickiness of real world events? No, I'd rather you try to kill a dragon. I'd rather you face undead. I'd rather you find the traitor in the kingdom who is facilitating the collapse of the kingdom. I would rather you be stealing, treasures from a corrupt minister or noble.
Yeah, I would prefer the same thing.
I want you to be heroes, and I want you to be villains, but I don't want you to be real life monsters. Yeah. So,
see how those ideas and the creativity just clash, with other people. Some will feel comfortable about it, and others won't. I like your take, though.
It's definitely more of you have to lay out a good. In any form of communication, you have to express your intent concisely. And I lay out my expectations. I listen to my players. And I like to say that I've been pretty successful with my groups, as I've been running almost 14 years. And my main group, who just only a few years ago had recently dispersed. That was a pretty successful group, because we had a fluctuating player base, but never dropping below the fact that I could run. But we would have anywhere between 4 and some sessions I ran groups that reached anywhere from 8 to 12, which if you know, well, for those who are familiar with tabletop RPGs, 4 to 6, including the GM, is the optimal group size. Any more than that, you're only punishing yourself.
Wow.
It takes a lot of discipline and experience within the group, as well as the dynamic between the group and the player group and the game master storyteller. It's like there has to be a coordination and a cooperation that has to develop and is developed. Where if they start going on a tangent, I'll be like, guys, I rarely have to raise my voice, and they'll realize, oh, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, sorry. It's his turn, and they'll fall back, because these sessions can an optimal session is anywhere between 2 and 4 hours, but sometimes we ran. In our heyday, we ran sessions 6, 8, 12 hours into the night.
Dude, this is interesting. I never known anything about this. See, that's how it is. That's how my childhood is, man. I haven't been introduced much to, other things, really.
Yeah, and it's and it's fun, but and I like I said, it taught me a lot of it. It taught me a lot about myself.
You think I would do good, Virg? Do you think I would do good in role playing? Do you think I would do great at that?
I mean, it's for everyone. It's a matter of finding a good.
Mm-hmm.
It's a matter of finding a good group or building a good group, and everyone can play.
Yeah.
It just takes a willingness to. To coordinate and communicate as a group, and basic tools. You don't even need. A lot of players use character sheets that you can print from a website or buy or order, but you just need notebook paper, pencils, pens. Pens are kind of no-go because you need to make adjustments. Yeah, you need to make adjustments. You need to erase, and a set of dice. Many of the rules are online, correlated or collated to what are called SRDs. I forget what the term is. I think it's source reference documents. And basically websites devoted to a particular game, like D&D. D&D has an SRD. Pathfinder has an SRD. And they don't have the proprietary images and stuff, but they have fan-made images of popular monsters. They have all the basic rules, how to generate a character, how to roll, how to generate statistics. Basically, the statistics or the stats are what make up your character. In D&D, they have six statistics: your charisma, wisdom, intelligence, constitution, strength, and agility. And they sound like they sound. Intelligence, basic, raw informational intelligence, memory capacity. Wisdom is your insight, the ability to make intuitive leaps of logic. Basically, sussing out the real versus fake. Charisma, and charisma is not a personal stat, or is not a physical stat. Charisma represents your force of personality, your ability to emote, your ability to relate with people, your prettiness. Like to case in point, a person can look like can physically look like they belong on the cover of a magazine with a average and or negative charisma, because physical attraction does not necessarily dictate your charisma, your ability to get along with people, your ability to be diplomatic, your ability to lie. That physical attraction is only one component, and it's kind of a minor component to charisma. And the others are very general. Constitution, your ability, your vitality, and your ability to recover, strength, your raw physical power, your ability to hit things, your ability to carry things, dexterity, your basic coordination, using ranged weapons, etc. And that's, but basically those, you pick stats, pick character, pick character concepts, and follow the rules. And though every group of players has to have a GM, which that is both the easier and harder part of the game.
Man,
you don't play a single, as a GM, I don't play a single character. I play every character you meet, with the exception of the members of your party. Whether the random beggar on the street, the guy who's trying to knife you, the dog. The dog that pees on your leg.
Man, that's
the wind that blows and makes you lose that sheet of paper that you need to get. You're on a chase. You're on a chase with us.
By the way, that's a lot of work, Virg. You ready for the main event?
Oh yeah. But
I am the ruler. Let me jump off this question real quick. I got like 20 minutes before I do my strawberry picking with the group. So tell me and the listeners and the viewers that are tuning in right now about Fandom Revolution and how did you first get involved with this? And you can go open mic right now for the next 10 minutes or so. Go.
Well, the Fandom Revolution is a concept that an associate, the co-founder of this event. Let me go back to the beginning. So, I have a dear friend and an acquaintance called Queena. I met her through my work, and we maintain a relationship. Though she has since left my job, or where I work, to pursue to further her career and success. And one day, a couple weeks ago, she hit me up and was like, "Hey, can you help me?" I'm like, "Okay, help you with what?" "I have a friend that I need you to talk to, and because you're a nerd, Virgil." I'm like, "Yes, I am." What about being a nerd that you need? But you're into like anime, comic books, the Star Wars movies, fantasy, action movies, and all that stuff, right? And I'm like, "Yes." I may not, I may not have qualifications, but I think I'm fairly knowledgeable. I'm a fairly knowledgeable subject matter expert on the material. And she was like, okay. So she gave me the contact information of an individual named James.
Mm-hmm.
He's an entrepreneur of the highest degree. He's a very driven and focused individual.
Uh-huh.
He has and participates in podcasts as well. He has marketing as well as audiovisual expertise and experience. He is a fan of fandom, which I'm going to refer to as in the name Fandom Revolution, the what I like to call the fandom culture. And the fandom culture just consists of, if you're a fan of something, you're in the fandom culture. Whether you're a fan of sports, a fan of crocheting, but in this instance, fandom culture refers to the non-mainstream genres of our culture, such as fantasy, science fiction, cosplay, role play, LARPing, the various science fiction, fantasy shows, movies, like Star Trek, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, comic books, all of that encompassing into one kind of ball or area that we refer to as fandom culture. And we're trying, and James approached me about doing this conference, which is basically a one-day affair. We're trying to hold it in Norfolk in the Neon District. So we have several locations that we're talking to, and we're meeting with city officials and leaders, as well as local nonprofits and organizations, to create basically an event that encompasses both fandom culture as well as technology and community and social responsibility, kind of bridging those three avenues, worlds, and creating kind of a Venn diagram of how and where they would intersect.
Interesting.
We hope to get, we want a smaller affair, probably between 1 and 300 people. We're planning for that. Though if our ticket sales go further, then oh my, we'll deal with that then. But we're trying to get 1 to 300 people to attend, where we want to promote workshops, panel discussions, guest speakers, all utilizing any local talent in the Hampton Roads Tidewater, the 757 area. And if people outside the area are interested, we would love them too. But
that was one of my questions I wanted to ask you too.
Yeah, if they can make it when this event, if they can make it, and the event when we host the event, great. But like I said, it will be a one-day affair, basically, probably a sun up to sundown kind of thing.
Yeah,
probably at least between an 8 and 12 hour period.
One thing I want to ask you, Virg, I want to ask you, I know driving in members is definitely key in making this a success, but do you think Fandom Revolution can manifest itself into an online community if the resources and funds are available for that? I'm kind of going off the wall here, sorry.
We're trying to keep, we're trying to do low cost, high impact. We're taking advantage of social media. I've personally advertised on my Facebook page about Fandom Revolution. There are several groups. There are several LARP groups in the area that me and James plan to approach in the coming weeks to kind of get notice, do personal face-to-faces. Also, there are the local game hobby comic book shops in the area, several, a few of them, much like World's Best out in Newport News, Atlantis Game Shop in their locations, Tower of Games. They have a large basically fan base who meets regularly at their stores, and those stores host tabletop sessions. They have tabletop events. They also have trading card and miniature and tactical gaming, like basically Risk and basically more expansive version of Risk. If you ever played the game Risk, miniature wargaming is a much bigger and more expansive version of Risk that can take place there. That can hold anywhere from 2 to a dozen players if you have a big enough table and a big enough battlefield for engaging of those armies. But yeah, like we're trying to bridge. We're also through the event, we're trying to generate interest in this sort of event to show Norfolk, the city of Norfolk, that there is revenue opportunities, tourism opportunities. Try to introduce something new into the community, as if you like case in point, the Hampton Comic Con was canceled this year, and I read a few days ago about an article that a lot of the major studios and services, like streaming services, are either not attending or have basically not said whether or not they're going to attend San Diego Comic-Con this year. And the officials are very concerned about the draw and the turnout of Comic-Con, San Diego Comic-Con, which is, I guess, the OG, the granddaddy for the Comic-Con series and organizations. But there's a big market for this stuff. And yes, we have events like Comic-Con locally, such as NecoCon, which is one of the big anime.
Yeah.
Yes, one. It's a really big anime convention, though it doesn't just feature anime, but anime and manga is the primary draw. But they have. It's a weekend affair. It's usually held around or after or just after Halloween weekend in Hampton at the convention center. But that's a big one. They have a couple other smaller ones around here, but there is a market, and there is, especially Tidewater being a military town, like a lot of folks are coming from all over, but a lot of them have a commonality and a love of fandom culture. And we want to bring awareness to fandom culture. We want to also kind of hash out a lot of the issues and dismiss stereotypes surrounding fandom culture. Because if you look at in the recent years, in regards to the media, as well as actors getting backlash for certain roles that they play on for franchises such as the Marvel Cinematic Universe, such as The Witcher, such as any number of products and IPs that are being shown and available. And a lot of that fan blowback is, I hate to say, it is a lot on us.
Mm-hmm.
But there are also underlying factors. There's a lot of tribalism and identity politics in regards to fandom culture. There's a lot of fandom. A lot of people find fandom because they're in a place of hurt and they're in a place of isolation, and
they need an outlet.
And they're not really, they need an outlet. They need something. And a lot of times fandom is that outlet, is that something that helps kind of fill that void. And and a lot of us older fans and fans in general predate this whole mental health awareness craze phenomenon. And it's hard to give up decades of habit and basically pushback, because mainstream society looks upon the nerd with a bit of derision and contempt. Though it's gotten better in the last decade or more, but it's a lot of this acceptance is still new, and also people. And also new and not necessarily typical fandom fans and nerd culture participants. Your stereotypical normal person who just after. They may have been the popular kid. They may have been the bully. They may just have been, the guy who looked down on the average Joe who followed peer pressure and looked down on the nerds and the fantasy dorks and the tabletop gamers and the segments that were nerd culture and fandom culture, but yet. In his after high school period, maybe as early as a couple years after high school, or maybe he found a love of a certain portion of fandom culture, after he had kids or after he got married or in his 30s and 40s and 50s, but he's newly joining and he's meeting the same people that at one point in time he denigrated, ignored, displayed contempt towards, and is basically asking for acceptance, which is laudable, but also you have to understand how fundamentally skewed that looks to the fandom, member who's like, I haven't seen you in years, and apparently you want to relate to me because what, you found a love of X, Y, Z, and you what now? What? No, I don't want you to be a part of my game group. No, I don't. No, I don't particularly want to discuss with you.
I banish you. Just kidding.
Yeah, no, I don't really want to particularly discuss with you anything. And if you keep coming at me, about things, I will hurt your feelings. Because you in the realm of fandom, you obviously are not versed enough in the material to debate with me, which is a bad look. You don't. I always thought that we want that us as fandom nerd fan culture participants would want to get more people involved and want to, and make it more acceptable. Yes, not everyone's opinion is our opinion. Not everyone's view of the material has that much of emotional connection, and like how people are either, and I like to think that some of the reaction and blowback, having case in point, Black Superman.
Mm-hmm.
There were alternate storylines where there was a Black Superman, but you see the community talk about the white just Superman being Caucasian, which to me as a fan, I was like, okay, I initially agreed, but I thought about it, like, who is it really hurting? If it makes money, it makes money. If it doesn't, then the studio, the DC Comics in general will learn their lesson and you speak with your wallet. Yeah. You don't speak with your hate. If you're not with it, you're not with it. You don't have to support it. You don't have to buy it. And all these people that are complaining and bitching and spewing all this racist, misogynistic rhetoric, particularly at the female actors and whatnot. Like, bro, are you dumb?
Mm.
If you don't like it, you don't like it. Yep. But why are you attacking solely on the basis of race or gender?
Yep.
That's not a good argument. If in my time as a GM, if you have an honest critique of me, tell me. Mm. If you see I'm doing something wrong, tell me as one of my players, and I will address it. I'm like, oh well, that's good. I didn't know. Well, appreciate it. Thank you.
Hey, by the way, Virg, I know time constraints here, man, and we got to get going. Strawberry picking. I'm going to rule my kingdom. I want some strawberries.
But like I said, we Fandom Revolution, and I have an email if you're interested, or if people are interested. fandomrevolution757@gmail.com. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on my Instagram. DM me. We have a chat group for to collaborate, give updates. We're actually my partner James. He's actually working on the website. The website should be live, and I will hopefully I'll drop.
I'll put that on the end credits there. So if anyone want to, see what he was just saying, I'll put it in the end credits. So right now, a big hand once again for Virg. Let's give him all that applause. Woo! Look at that.
But
he gets all the love.
Thank you very much, John Eric. Love you, brother. I appreciate your time. I appreciate the time and me being able to address the people of your platform, and hopefully around the internet and around the world.
All right, guys.
man.
Take care, Verge. Have a happy 4th of July. Celebrate it with the ones you love and rule
Happy
your
4th of
domain.
July, don't burn yourself. Like fireworks. Don't get hurt.
Oh no, I won't, man. I won't. I promise.
Practice fireworks safety.
Indeed, you heard that, folks. Fireworks safety.
Happy 4th of July, everybody.
All right, take care, guys.